Welcome to a deep dive into the technologies really shaping the next decade. Today, we are wrestling with, well, a high-stakes triple header.
Hmm.
We've got the furthest reaches of cutting-edge science, the immediate rapid acceleration of automation, and the defense strategy of the biggest infrastructure player in AI, all kind of colliding right now.
Yeah, the sources we looked at, they really zero in on three critical areas. There's Google's aggressive pivot, from quantum supremacy toward demonstrating actual quantum utility.
Right.
Then you have Amazon's very concrete, accelerated plan for logistics automation.
Yep.
And finally, how NVIDIA continues to, well, fortify its utterly dominant market position against all this rising competition.
So our mission today is to cut through the complexity. We need to distill these three massive stories into clear, actionable knowledge for you, focusing specifically on where the commercial value is right now and, maybe more importantly, where you should be looking, say, 10 years from now.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's start with the longest bet on the table, quantum computing.
Quantum, it's definitely the future, but it's a future that remains frustratingly just over the horizon, doesn't it?
Google recently made massive news, though, with their latest achievement using the Willow chip.
That's right. They achieved a calculation speed 13,000 times faster than the powerful Frontier supercomputer.
Huge number.
Yeah, and the key difference from their 2019 claims is how they're framing this. They're calling it a genuine step toward quantum utility,
Exactly, full of.
meaning solving a specific useful problem, not just like proving a theoretical edge.
And what's fascinating here is understanding exactly why they call this utility. Yes, it was 13,000 times faster, but crucially, it only applies to one very specific algorithm,
Okay.
a simulation related to error correction code.
So it's not some universal speed boost across the board.
No, not at all. But here's the insight. Why is that calculation useful? Because error correction is, well, it's the essential plumbing you need to make quantum computers stable and reliable enough for any commercial task.
Right. So by demonstrating speed and simulating those necessary corrective steps, Google is effectively showing they're moving from a purely theoretical machine towards one that can actually function within the noisy real world. It signals that the engineering is advancing quickly toward stability.
And that potential is fueling an incredibly intense rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Your sources are calling it the technology spring and autumn period.
Oh, it's absolute technological warfare right now. Google's claim immediately brought out IBM,
Of course.
who quickly countered, suggesting their own classical supercomputers could efficiently simulate the same calculation, basically challenging the very notion of Google's utility claim.
So this back and forth, it drives innovation, I guess, but it also shows how hard it is to declare a definitive winner yet.
Definitely. And it's not just a Google versus IBM fight either. It's a fight over the fundamental building block of quantum computing, the qubit itself.
Ah, the core technology.
Precisely. So Google and IBM, they're betting heavily on superconducting qubits. These offer high speed, potentially, but they're notoriously fragile, very sensitive to noise, difficult to scale.
Wow.
Then you have ion Q, which is having, frankly, major success using ion traps. These are much slower comparatively, but vastly more stable and consistent.
Different trade-offs.
Exactly. And then there's Microsoft, still chasing the sort of holy grail of topological qubits. Theoretically, these are immune to noise, but they are incredibly hard to actually build and demonstrate.
So we have this field where no single architecture is clearly superior. Each
Wow.
comes with these trade-offs between speed, stability, scalability. That really justifies the spring and autumn period metaphor, doesn't it?
It really does.
Now, Google says commercial applications are only, 5 years away? Things like new materials or drug discovery. How realistic is that timeline, really?
Well, most experts you read are much more cautious. They're suggesting maybe a 10-year minimum for widespread commercial value. The hardware is kind of outpacing the required infrastructure. There are two huge hurdles that make that 5-year projection seem optimistic. The first is fault tolerance.
Which loops back to the core problem of error correction we just talked about.
Yes, exactly. Current systems are just too noisy, too unstable.
Yeah.
To get genuine, commercially viable, fault-tolerant quantum computing, you don't just need hundreds of qubits. You need millions of perfectly stable qubits. We are still orders of magnitude away from that level of stability and scale.
Wow, millions. Okay, and the second hurdle you highlighted?
Algorithm development. It's almost ironic. Hardware engineers are building these incredibly exotic machines faster than researchers can actually write useful software for them.
So we're building the concert hall, but the music itself, the useful quantum algorithms, is still being composed.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Okay, so if the ultimate technological winner is basically unknown, and the commercial timeline is maybe a decade away minimum,
Yeah.
how do you invest wisely today? What's the angle?
You adopt the pick and shovel strategy. It's classic. Since you don't know who will win the quantum race, Google, IBM, IonQ, maybe someone else entirely, you invest in the infrastructure that all of them need.
Ah, the enabling technologies.
Precisely. We're talking ultra-low temperature cooling systems, specialized measurement equipment, the high-purity materials essential for quantum operation, like superconductors. These supply companies, they stand to profit regardless of which ultimate technological platform comes out on top.
Okay, that makes sense for the long game. But what about immediate revenue? Is there anything related to quantum that's a play right now?
Yes, absolutely. Post-quantum cryptography, or PQC, this is probably the surest near-term bet in the whole quantum-adjacent space.
Why PQC specifically?
Because the largest immediate threat posed by quantum computing isn't, the creation of a new miracle drug 10 years from now. It's the eventual breakdown of all our current encryption methods.
Right, the security implications are huge.
Immense. So companies developing quantum-resistant encryption, they are poised for the earliest, most substantial revenue. Why? Because they solve an urgent security threat that defense agencies and major corporations are already budgeting for today. It's not theoretical. It's an active defense measure.
Excellent point. Okay, so if we're placing bets on technology maybe 10 years out in quantum, let's pivot completely. Let's talk about the profit story that is absolutely happening right this minute. Amazon's robotics revolution.
Yeah, this transition couldn't be starker, could it? We move from theoretical physics to immediate proven financial impact. The recent internal town hall at Amazon confirmed it. They're not just committed to their long-term goal of reducing the workforce by, 600,000 by 2030?
Yeah, huge number.
They're aggressively accelerating the deployment of their integrated Sequoia robotic system now.
That scale is just staggering. The goal is to fully deploy Sequoia across more than 50 major U.S. fulfillment centers by the end of 2025. That pace. It really feels like they're moving their automation timeline forward significantly.
And the short-term job displacement forecast is very concrete, too. They're expecting something like 160,000 to 300,000 U.S. job reductions by 2027, purely due to this automation push. And importantly, we already have the financial proof that this strategy is highly profitable.
Right. Here's where it gets really interesting for investors. The 2025 Q3 earnings report. Amazon reported stronger than expected results, and they specifically cited a structural improvement in operating margin within the logistics and fulfillment sector.
And CEO Andy Jassy didn't mince words about it. He attributed the results directly to automation, stating that systems like Sequoia are improving operational efficiency by over 25%.
25%.
Yeah. This basically validates their aggressive goal of saving over $4 billion annually through this. And the market reacted instantly, right? The stock surged, proving investor belief in this long-term margin expansion story.
Okay, but Amazon faces tremendous social backlash here. Labor unions globally, the ITF, the Teamsters, they're calling this greedy cost reduction. How does the company, or how do investors, weigh that projected $4 billion in savings against the massive ESG risk this kind of job displacement creates?
That is the essential trade-off, absolutely. And it's something investors must track closely. Amazon, naturally, counters by framing the robots as enhancing worker safety, taking on the riskiest, most repetitive tasks.
The safety angle.
The safety angle, yes. But the potential for successful unionization drives or maybe new government regulations specifically targeting job displacement, that is a serious the S in ESG risk that has to be factored into the valuation. It's not just about the pure numbers.
So this strategy, it really requires a complete pivot in the investment mindset, doesn't it? You have to stop looking primarily at the upfront cost of buying all those robots and focus almost purely on the long-term structural savings on the other side.
Precisely. You absolutely have to understand the difference between CapEx and OpEx here. Think of it like this. Capital expenditure, CapEx, that's the huge one-time cost. Amazon's spending billions to buy and install the Sequoia robot system.
Right, the big investment.
But operational expenditure, OpEx, that's the daily recurring cost of running the business, salaries, healthcare, training, all that stuff. Amazon is taking a huge CapEx hit now, specifically to achieve dramatically lower OpEx every single month forever, basically.
So it structurally improves their famously low operating margins.
Exactly. And that is why the market is so bullish. Despite the upfront cost and the social noise, it changes the fundamental profitability of their core business.
Okay, but this massive shift, this automation drive, it relies entirely on scalable processing power, right?
Right.
If Amazon needs 50 fully automated centers humming along by 2025, they need one company, really, to deliver the infrastructure for the millions of sensors, the robotic brains, reliably and fast.
Which brings us neatly to NVIDIA, the incumbent king.
In-
And NVIDIA's stability lately has been quite remarkable, hasn't it? Despite some really high-profile market volatility, remember the Oracle AI profitability shock?
Oh, yeah.
Or even market jitters following those Google Quantum announcements we discussed? Through all that, NVIDIA just kind of held its ground around that $180 range.
So what does this market stability tell us? How should we interpret that?
I think it means the market has firmly concluded that NVIDIA isn't merely, a theme stock just riding the AI hype cycle. It's viewed as the essential infrastructure provider, the must-have technology.
The picks and shovels again, but for AI.
Exactly. Regardless of whether the cloud providers are currently wildly profitable using the chips yet, the chips themselves must be bought to play the game, and NVIDIA holds the superior pricing power in that transaction.
And they're actively fortifying this dominance with what our sources are calling the four moats. Four powerful defensive strategies that maintain their market leadership. Let's break those down. Maybe start with the first two.
Okay, moat number one is their accelerated roadmap. They showcase just an overwhelming pace of innovation. They didn't just reveal the Rubin platform, they immediately followed that up by showing early architecture for the next one, the Vera Rubin Ultra.
Always looking ahead.
They are constantly 2 steps ahead, forcing competitors like AMD to play catch-up to a target that's always moving further away. It's relentless.
Okay, that's moat one. Moat number two is the ecosystem lock-in, which basically means CUDA, right?
CUDA is the biggest part of it, yes. Their proprietary software platform. It's incredibly sticky. But the key insight here is that they are actively expanding its reach beyond just GPUs. The recent Prometheus's collaboration with Intel is critical here.
How so?
Because that initiative successfully expands NVLink networking, that's their high-speed interconnect technology, deep into the x86 CPU ecosystem. So they're tightening their grip on the entire data center architecture, not just the accelerator side.
Wow, okay. Deep integration. Moat number three, the customer as partner strategy. This is where that huge OpenAI partnership comes in.
Right.
Why is a $100 billion scale partnership with OpenAI such a powerful defensive structure for NVIDIA?
Well, it's not just about selling a massive volume of chips, though that helps. It's about aligning technological destinies. This partnership secures a huge, predictable next-gen chip customer, yes, but crucially, it aligns both companies' technology roadmaps years in advance. Meaning OpenAI can't just suddenly decide to switch to AMD or try to build their own chip easily. The cost and complexity of rewriting their entire AI software stack to move away from NVIDIA's custom, deeply integrated standards becomes astronomically high. It's a very effective lock-in mechanism at the highest level.
Got it. Okay, and the final moat, number four, is the geopolitical advantage.
Yeah, this shouldn't be underestimated. Their central role in major U.S. Department of Defense AI projects, plus their status as a major beneficiary of the GPS Act. It solidifies their position. In the context of global tech competition, NVIDIA isn't just seen as a supplier. It's viewed almost as a symbol of American technological hegemony.
Strong words.
But that high status provides a powerful geopolitical stabilizer, especially in volatile markets or during trade tensions.
Okay, but we have to talk about the competition realistically. AMD is absolutely rising. They're securing stronger contracts. They're solidifying their position as the clear number two player in the high-end AI chip market. Shouldn't investors view this as a serious erosion of NVIDIA's moat? Is the empire cracking?
I think that's probably the wrong way to frame it. We should maybe reframe AMD's success not as the beginning of the end for NVIDIA, but more as the emergence of a healthy duopoly.
A duopoly.
Yeah, this competition actually validates the sheer size and stability of the entire AI infrastructure market. It probably keeps NVIDIA sharper, forces them to keep innovating at that pace we talked about. But NVIDIA's continued dominance in CUDA, that software ecosystem, allows them to maintain a kind of pricing floor. They still capture the bulk of the market's value, even as AMD grows its share.
Which brings us back nicely to that profitability paradox you mentioned earlier. If cloud providers like Oracle are reportedly struggling with AI profitability, Why does that actually confirm NVIDIA's fundamental strength?
Because the simple, maybe uncomfortable truth is that NVIDIA, as the primary chip supplier, is capturing the vast majority of the profit in the AI value chain right now. They dictate the cost of entry for everyone else.
They set the price.
They set the price. Cloud companies, AI startups, everyone, they have to buy the essential infrastructure to even play in the AI game.
Mhm.
And that infrastructure, NVIDIA's silicon and software, comes at a premium that clearly demonstrates their superior technological leverage and, frankly, their unshakable pricing power, at least for now.
Okay, wow. We've covered massive ground today. From a 10-year, maybe longer, deep tech bet in quantum to an immediate structural cost-cutting revolution happening at Amazon right now, all underpinned by this one dominant infrastructure player, NVIDIA.
Yeah, and when you synthesize these three stories, I think it's crucial to remember the timeline differentials. Quantum is clearly a long-term research play, probably best approached through investing in that enabling infrastructure or looking at the immediate security needs addressed by PQC.
Right.
Amazon's automation, on the other hand, is a proven immediate story of margin expansion. It's transforming their financial structure as we speak. NVIDIA, well, NVIDIA remains the core essential ocean powering this entire AI wave, heavily fortified by those powerful, comprehensive moats we discussed.
Okay, so let's leave our listeners with this final provocative thought to chew on. If Amazon is successfully accelerating the replacement of hundreds of thousands of jobs through automation powered significantly by NVIDIA's infrastructure, how quickly will the resulting societal and, let's be honest, political pressure force governments and businesses to accelerate investment in the only two fields that can truly address this massive societal challenge?
Which are?
Rapid worker retraining programs on a scale we've never seen before,
Yeah.
and the immediate, widespread development and deployment of post-quantum cryptography to secure this massive, newly automated data ecosystem we're building. What does that forced, potentially much faster, accelerated timeline look like for the world?